Welcome everyone to a Tortuga Power channel update. Mainly this is just to say Merry Christmas. I hope you are all having a happy holidays and hopefully enjoying some time off this Christmas season, this holiday season. Spend it with some family, some loved ones. It feels like easier than ever to be like traveling around and visiting people, so we probably don't appreciate actually being home with people as much as maybe we used to. Anyways, in the background, I'm going to be playing Command Modern Air Naval Operations. This is just going to be the backdrop for my channel update video. So not the focus, but I've been playing a little bit more of this lately, and I'm enjoying it. So eventually, maybe one day, we'll get a series on this onto the channel. But for now, I'm going to be playing just this. It's technically a tutorial, but it's like the final challenge of the submarine tutorial series. So I would consider it basically just like a normal scenario. We will be in a Los Angeles class submarine chasing after a Typhoon. On the path, I've played this mission once now, so I already know. On the path, we expect to find a Victor 3 submerged contact enemy, Soviet. And we also expect to have a Kushin on the surface, which is a destroyer. Both of those are very deadly, so we're going to need to be very careful. Anyway, let me go ahead and start talking about the channel stuff I want to talk about while this is kind of going on in the background, and maybe if I'm lucky I can multitask. That's always a real challenge to do two things at the same time. Void cavitation being very important. Getting contacts, probably a lot of biologics, if I'm not mistaken. I believe there's a lot of biologics in this. Okay, so first and foremost, we have the two current series. The two current series on the channel are Airships, Conquer the Skies, and Cold Waters in the 2000 campaign in the USS Seawolf. Now, I don't think that those will be going on much longer. They're both kind of nearing the end. What I do think is that I'm going to be doing another series of both of those. Now, I won't be doing another series on the 2000 campaign. I'm going to switch to 1968 for Cold Waters, which is going to be a challenge. Big challenge. But I am going to do another one on airships, so we can get some more designs in there. But neither of those will be the very next thing which comes. The first thing I wanted to put was Aggressor's Ancient Rome. Unfortunately, I had some issues with the resolution, not recording quite right. Like this window that you're looking at, I'm recording in 1920 by 1080, I think. I believe that's right. But this window size itself, there's like a little window bar up here. I guess I can show you briefly. There it is. I'm not recording that. That's not part of the recording window. And for most games, they already have built in the fact that the 1920 by 1080 playable window actually means the window pixels taken up on your Windows monitor is something like 1922, 1 pixel on either side just for the frame, and then 1112, so it's usually 30 for this top window bar, and one pixel on the top and bottom for the frame. Now, Aggressor's Ancient Rome doesn't have that system built in yet, so the playable size is actually less than 1920 by 1080, and it's messing up my recording. I can get around it. There's a couple things I can do is just stretch the image. I'm not sure if that'll come out looking janky. I can also just try to record in 2560 by 1440, if I have that right. But then, of course, we're going to deal with a smaller user interface. It might look, again, janky, but I mean, not really janky, more too small on normal viewing, the normal audience viewing monitor. So those are my two concerns there. We've been going for a little while. Okay, I think we're going to be okay. Just cut this down to cruise, maybe. Oh, look at that. We got a contact up. Good thing we're not going full anymore. So, good. We'll just keep this contact in mind. This is probably let's put, in fact, a marker. I'm going to guess it was there. Distance to expected target location. 35 nautical miles. Plenty of distance left to speed on through this opening area. I'm just going to be... Oh, I wanted to change some of my doctrine stuff as well. I don't want to dive when threat is detected. I like to use my ESM a little longer than normally. Okay, that 3 knots and minus 98 feet is just exactly the hallmark of biologics, so we're not going to worry about that. For ASW, I want to hold. I don't want them to fire my... This thing actually has this LA... This is a fictional scenario, and we're, well, obviously, because we're at war with the Soviet Union, and we're equipped with a sub-rock, which is a rocket fired from the vertical launchers that drops into the water. And this particular one, there's lots of anti-submarine rockets that fired. A lot of Russian submarines were actually built with that design to fire a rocket on, just put it right on top of where the submarine's last location was, and then have a torpedo payload basically eject from the rocket at the destination, go into the water, and become active in a spiral downward. So it eventually would keep looking in the spiral forward and find supposedly the enemy submarine, lock on. And if you've seen Cold Waters, it's all very familiar to you. Anyway, the U.S. never really used this technology, but we did have this design, this nuclear warhead. So basically, I launch a rocket, it drops into the water, it does not even look for a submarine, it just detonates. And the amount of, the payload delivered is so high, it's so such a large explosion, that the concussion in the water is enough to destroy a sub for 2 miles around, which is pretty crazy. I mean, if you can imagine that's what it's doing to a sub, it's also not going to be very friendly to sea life. But, this is war, there's going to be casualties, and if the casualties are only limited to non-human mammals, or non-human animals, or non-human life, well, that's really not that bad. Okay, so we have another, that's biologics as well. Fantastic. We're still going 20, yeah, we are, cruising along. So this is where I expected their position was a long time ago. They will be closing. In fact, I probably, if I was smart, would close with them. And then I'm below the layer, so that should not be very easy to detect me. Anyways, I shouldn't be talking about this. Let's go ahead and talk more about the other series. Armored Brigade. That was one of the next ones I wanted. I wanted to do a 3-mission campaign. I'm not exactly sure how many videos that would be. It might be more than one video per mission. But I wanted to do first a defensive mission to kind of simulate the Soviet Union attacking into Germany. Then I wanted to do a neutral place where essentially NATO had finally pushed back the Soviet assault, or met them on even ground. And then I wanted to do one final one, which would have been an attack, which to simulate the NATO basically pushing back against the Russians taking up the territory they originally took. I want to do that, but ever since the preview video, I've had a hard time getting back into Armored Brigade, and the real culprit, I would say, is the line of sight system. It's so tedious for me to min-max the location of things by clicking on every square to find what square has the best visibility. And I don't really know of a better way of doing that. In fact, if anybody has a suggestion or recommendation about how to place your troops in Armored Brigade, maybe you can just give move orders to general location, or defend, maybe a defend order to general location, and your maybe your units will actually take care of that for you. Let's just see if we can find this guy. We are getting something. That's biologics as well. We still haven't found this guy, who should be, I'm guessing, close. Now let's go ahead and just go periscope depth real fast. I'm going to slow this down to 1 second real time so we can very quickly react in case this is bad. Okay, so that's Armored Brigade. The next one I have in mind is Decisive Campaigns Barbarossa. This is kind of like the Advanced Tactics Gold version of War in the East, the Gary Grigsby title. So it's like an easier, like War in the East light, is how I'd like to think about it. But it also introduces some interesting personal characteristics, like the staff, the interaction between the German staff, something which you don't really get at the War in the East level. It's all kind of abstracted. But the VR Designs team who made Decisive Campaigns Barbarossa, also responsible for Advanced Tactics Gold, they actually model in this whole system of disagreements between the German high command, the senior members of the German army, or the German military forces, because it's not just the army, it's the air force as well. So that's kind of interesting. Let's go back to full under the layer and plod along for a little bit further. Next one I have, so that one's going to happen. Actually, one of the things which is keeping me from doing that campaign already is I'm not sure how deep I want to get into it. I was actually thinking of even allowing people to voice act the different dialogues between the German staff. So that would be like a really role play, like really let's get into it and let's immerse ourselves in this Eastern Front theater. But I may have rolled back a little bit from that original desire. You know, usually that's how it goes, right? You're enthusiastic. You have this, well, we can do so many great things. Why are you? Oh, damn it! See, I did. What in God's name is going on? I don't know why it wasn't working. Okay, well, we were not going the speed I wanted us to go. Now we're going the cruise, which is fine. Okay, yeah, so this is a little more problematic. We now have encountered I know what I know this to be is a Victor 3. And these are all as quiet as my Los Angeles class. So I didn't even show, but this is our Los Angeles class. Has the dive planes on the sail still. The later flights, or later versions, I guess, is easier to describe it as. Actually put the dive planes on the body of the boat, same as the Seawolf, for those of you who are familiar with that. And this was not the quietest submarine in the world. I mean, well, the Los Angeles class, I think it was actually up there, but we were actually exchanging, we were like, you know, in a tech race with the Russians still at this point. So these qualities are actually all shared by my, what do I call this? My enemy, my antagonist? I don't know how to, the word escapes me. My enemy, my nemesis, I don't know. Whatever this guy is. And he's much more dangerous, I would say, than this surface ship. But let's go ahead and, speaking of surface ship, probably go back to periscope depth. And this guy's actually just going to mimic my course. He's just trying to stay with me, kind of make sure. Maybe he's trying to identify me before he launches. He does have also nuke rocks. They're called sub-rocks, well, at least the American version, but I think they also have the Schwal, which is the underwater only, but why use that when you could just drop a nuke right on top of your opponent's head? Okay, so Decisive Campaigns Barbarossa, the next thing is, those are actually the 3 series I have planned for the immediate future. Aggressors Ancient Rome, Armored Brigade, and Decisive Campaigns Barbarossa, with then the Cold Waters and the airships, the next series of those being mixed in as well. In the more distant future, I want to get, oh, we're not running. I want to get Battle Brothers. There's new DLC, and I think we should try to look for that. We should try to get that going. Hold good. So I might use my nuke on this guy. I think I will. Let's go down to 10. So, what else do we have? Yeah, Battle Brothers new DLC has been launched, and I think that'd be really interesting to. Oh yeah, he's just matching my course. He's just showing how much he knows about me. Look, I'm matching course. Well, so we're just gonna drop a nuke on his head, and then he can't follow us anymore at all. But we should also be a little bit careful about. Okay, there it is. So this is good because I wanted to showcase the fact that. If you remember, our numbers were 110, 111, 112, and that scales for the rest of these numbers. They all scale based on the first one. I don't know if there's differences, but if there are, I didn't pay there. At least in the first 2 rows, there are no differences. The first one basically will create the next ones for it. So yeah, this is identical, as you can see, to the Los Angeles that we're in. So everything we can hear, supposedly he can hear just as well. And I guess the potential armament thing we'd be most interested in avoiding is, okay, torpedo tubes. Yeah, this. Which, anti-sub has 22 nautical mile range, and the damage. Warhead. Yeah, it's a 5 kiloton nuke. I don't know what the blast radius for that is, but big. It's big. It's big enough that, you know, it's going to get to the target before the target can evade the zone, even if it's even slightly inaccurate in its firing position. So 22, we have to be like really panicked, which we're well within. Okay, good to know. But don't fear. For some reason they're being nice. Maybe it's because it's a tutorial, or maybe they're just not really sure. They don't have an exact lock. We have this sub-rock, which is a 10 kiloton nuclear depth charge. And I think we can launch this at his position. So what I'm going to do is queue up this, allocate that sub-rock against this enemy. I think we more or less have their position. Let's slow down to creep because we're getting ready to do this, just to really hopefully get his position. I'm going to open up my... I want to, for target motion analysis, it's really good if you continue to move in one line. Alright, sorry about that. And so TMA, move in a straight line, which is now we are doing. And I think we have his position more or less accurately enough that we should just launch before he launches at us. I mean, this red zone that we're looking at is the uncertainty, but it's small enough that I think if we launch kind of in the middle of it, we should be able to eliminate this target. So let's just do that. Why leave anything to chance, as in why give him any more time to decide to launch at us? Let us preempt his launch by launching at him, and it's away. Just that simple. Now we know somewhere there's still this other contact, which is the next thing I want to go to. But I'm also forgetting, of course, that there's other things involved in this video besides CMANO. It's so easy to get sucked in. I told you multitasking is not easy. Battle Brothers DLC was the last thing I was mentioning. I'm actually really excited to get back into that. Let's just continue at 1 speed for now. Let me make my depth above the layer so we can see if we detect this other contact. And we'll slowly see that thing go in. So there's, I think I covered all the basic series that I might be getting into soon. Okay, yeah, we have something. But the, you know, for this other one, by the way, I think it might be fun to launch some harpoons at them. Looks like we have 1 loaded up. Let's prioritize. I think we only have 2 total. You can actually see on the left we only have 2 total, so let's just prioritize that. See if we can maybe hit him with a couple. Isolating his position pretty well. We still know where this guy is? I don't think so. Usually it gives you a timer based on the amount of time you haven't detected him. But that still looks good. Anyway, so but there's also a couple one-off videos that I was thinking of doing. First of all, I would like to do a top 4X Space Empires game comparison, which would just compare Aurora 4X, Distant Worlds Universe, and Stellaris. And Stellaris kind of gets like an honorable mention there, but I don't think it's as good as the others. Oh, yep, so we missed by a significant amount, but still destroyed the Victor, because this is a 10 kiloton nuclear explosion. And you can read down here if you want the functionality of that. Okay, close and resume. This guy is probably, if he's intelligent at least, slightly concerned about his situation here. We'll move up to periscope depth to try to get better lock on him. And then immediately launch some harpoons. It's all happening really slow. Okay, so the other 2 one-off... Oh, there she is. It's not just that, but go up this way. There's 2 other videos I was thinking of doing. There's the cache-in. Okay, good. She's hostile. Oh! Good lord. Can't possibly be that close. If she is this close, we're dead. Let's go down to 1x. Wait for this to... Oh god, we're like dead. Well, this is going to be a short video. The other one-off ones is I wanted to give my thoughts on the latest Stellaris patch. We're dead. Go under the layer, and we will not want to launch... I mean, well, I guess we'll launch immediately. and let's launch everything at him. Why not? Okay, now that's better. So we can guide these in, kind of. Let's actually stay above the layer now, so we can guide them. You told me he was right next to us. You were not. That was not true at all. We're just gonna launch a whole bunch of stuff. See what gets to him. See what gets to him. These are homing in correctly. That's nice. You go after that. Thank you. Are these like dog legging or something? Ah, got him. Minor flooding. Good. We have one more inbound. That was a hit. Penetration achieved. Probably we're okay. So let's, I guess, make our way to the final target. Yeah, so I talked about... it's so hard to do stuff in these update videos. Two things at the same time. So I mentioned the fact that I wanted to do the top 4X space empires. So mainly that's going to be a talk about Aurora 4X and Distant Worlds, but I want to use Stellaris as a baseline for people who aren't familiar with those other two. Then I'll talk about Stellaris in another video, possibly. This is a possible video. And last one is I really want to do a discussion about RNG in games nowadays. I just feel like it's done so poorly that people must have like a horrible understanding of what, I don't know, what's actually going on in statistics and how to make it. Like, so for example, if your game is so dependent on RNG that a single roll of the dice can move you from a good position to game over, that's just not a good game, in my opinion. So there's a lot of like opinions about what a good game means, but if you have like one die roll which can make or break the game from even a good setup, let's say you do everything right and you still get this one unlucky roll and it ruins the game completely, that's bad. What you should be relying on is if you have just a terrible string of luck, then maybe you can get something bad to happen. Like if you're really just like, as they would say, like Six Sigma, but we would say like probably a better way of describing it is it's a rare like 0.001% case that you get this many bad rolls. I actually want to go, let's go as deep as possible in flank, because I actually want to catch up to this guy wherever he is very quickly. I'm presuming that he's way up here. He has been in the past, so let's just try to catch up. I'm obviously not going to hear anything right now. Yeah, so that I want to kind of talk about that, point out some of the games that use RNG heavily, like Battle Brothers. XCOM is probably the biggest example. Battletech, I feel like, does it slightly better. Basically, any game which you should be doing with, if you want to make RNG a good part of your game, you should be doing it in a statistical manner. And by that I mean that you should be one die roll. It should be many die roll. Like for those of you who know Advanced Tactics Gold, it's like 100 die roll going to each combat. And that's good. That means you get a statistical number. It's very unlikely for you to have aberrations with such large numbers. So I thought I would talk a little bit about this because I feel like it's something that's not really understood very well. Just an idea. But that's it. I want to call this video to a close, even though we haven't gotten to our final target yet. Just hopefully run it up. Go quickly. Maybe die in the process of... I assume that we've loaded all... Yep, so good. We'll try to chase this guy down. Every time I get that there's just like an average victory for this, because every time it doesn't reward me for not being damaged. It always says I'm damaged, even though I'm not. Okay, let's slow down to creep see if we see him. He should be up here somewhere. Yeah. Maybe he's just not here. Maybe let's go over the layer. No, go over the layer. Usually he stays under the layer, so... Alright, just go full again. See if we encounter him anywhere. Should be up here somewhere. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. The rest of this will just be concluding the CMANO video. If you're not interested in seeing the resolution of this scenario, feel free to end the video here. Merry Christmas again. Happy holidays. Make sure to check out the Steam sale, I would say. There's always a chance that the game you were waiting for has gone on sale. I picked up Dangerous Waters, that really hardcore submarine simulator. We'll see if I end up actually doing anything with that on the channel. It is pretty hardcore, so go down to creep again. I just feel like, maybe we'll even go active, just because we're just about over. Yeah, this is surface radar. This is my active sonar. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. Oh, this is high frequency. I don't care about that. That's for mines and obstacle avoidance. Let's turn these both on. We are very, very, very easy to detect in such a situation, but hey, you know what? We can go up to... Okay, yeah, close. We can easily go up to 10 knots. Very easily do 10 knots with active on. What I expect is that we just find ourselves on the receiving side of a pair of torpedoes, but so far that hasn't been the case, so I don't know where this Typhoon is. It has eluded us. I'll probably just bring this to a close here. I'm just going to say that they have successfully evaded us. And, I can maybe do this as a CMANO video eventually. I can return to this, hopefully in a successful manner. So for now, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas again. Feel free to check out the Discord. I always like to mention that on these channel updates because we have a good community there. I really feel like it's building. And I even had somebody I was talking to the other day who was offering to... we've been doing a lot of giveaways and stuff, and I gotta get back to that Papers, Please stream. Probably should be doing that right now. Yeah, anyways, there's going to be some people who want to donate to various people on the Discord, and, just to reward people who are my subscribers. That's very generous. Okay, so thanks for watching, and until the next video, well, until the next Christmas, Merry Christmas. Until the next video, take care. And if I don't talk to you or somehow get a hold of you before then, Happy New Year as well.